everyone, this is Alex from Dude and Little Dude's Toy Reviews. So I'm kind of doing a spin-off here. I'm doing this first section here by myself without the little dude, but this is going to be our very first video game review. So we were very fortunate enough to actually pick up the new SNES Classic console right here, as you can see. So this is brand new. We just got it early this morning. Now what's interesting is that I picked up two of these, and I didn't intend to get the second one. We only wanted to get one, literally, just for our family. But we ended up getting a second one. I'll kind of explain it later in the video how I pulled that off. I really intended just to get the one for us to do a review and a gameplay and so forth. For the second one, we definitely want to give it away to our family. Maybe it's an awesome Christmas gift. We're a little bit concerned that although Nintendo has announced multiple times that they're going to be doing more continuous releases, I have been hearing word that it might not actually happen. It might be just kind of like what they did last time for the NES, where they did release it. They said they were going to release more, and they were like in smaller quantities and spaced out too far in between. So it's not like they were going to come in a weekly truck delivery. It was going to be maybe 1 month, 2 months at most. We don't know. Maybe it might be just around the Christmas time where they're going to do another launch, and then that's it. So far as we know, we heard that Nintendo was only going to do a launch up until December, and then I don't know if they're going to be doing it even maybe in the beginning of January, but that was going to be it. They weren't going to make any more after that. So was it worth it to stay in line for the SNES? So I'm here to share my experience, something that I went through late last night. So what happened was we went to local Walmart. So I keep thinking, because I've done so much research, I've been calling so many different places. I did a Walmart that was close by me, and they didn't know how many units that they were going to have on hand. Now, to me, I've already talked to quite a few people, especially some employees that worked for like Target and Walmart and whatnot. The people that I know, they know exactly how much is actually going to be shipped to them. At least the people who are in the electronics section that deal with that know, but they're not really sharing that with the public. I mean, there's a lot of different theories as to the reasons why. When I was standing in line for Walmart, I had a great opportunity to talk to a lot of people around me, and they were all kind of, I mean, literally, we were just a community of fans that wanted to get this for ourselves or even for our like family members. And there was some insightful information that was kind of passed around. So the information that was shared was that people actually do have an idea. There's somebody that actually does know how much is coming in. If there's a shipment that's coming to the store, they have to keep accountability and keep track of it somehow. They can't just say, oh, we're going to have an unknown number in a box. They actually have to know how many is going to be in that box, how, the quantity and whatnot, so that that way they can take accountability for the amount they're going to be delivering or distributing in their store, so that avoids potential theft in between. And rightfully so. It was interesting. So the Walmart that we were at, when they finally delivered it, they told us there was going to be 24 units, and this was maybe about. So they did the midnight launching. That was 12 o'clock midnight. I was in line actually at 6, so it was 6 hours just waiting in line. So they told us like around, I'd say between 7 and 8, what to kind of expect. And we later found out maybe an hour before, so about 11 o'clock, they said that they found a shipment of enough units for the people that were already first in line. There was about, I think when I got there was like about 13 people ahead of me, so I was number 14 to get it, to get the next unit. And they only had about 24, so I was thinking, okay, I'm safe, I'm good. But they just announced in the back that that one of the boxes was open and one of the SNES consoles was actually stolen. So that was kind of, I guess, maybe part of the reason why they don't want to give it an exact number, because they don't want to, promise something and then once they open the boxes, they're not sure how much they're going to be able to account for. So that I can kind of understand, but I mean, I really wanted at least to get an idea of how much to expect, because my concern when I was in line, and a lot of other people's concerns too, were the people that were waiting in front of us. We literally saw families, lots of families, not so much even like, I wouldn't even consider like the typical fan people who were just, like middle-aged, my age, between 30s and 40s, waiting for an SNES console, but literally like just families that were there with all their kids. And I think their idea was that they wanted to buy each of them their own SNES Classic. And I was just like, that's absurd, because you know that they're not going to all have their own console. They're all going to share it and play it. I mean, that's the reason why it has 2 controllers, so you can play 2-player on each of these consoles. You know, they were just there to scalp it. So I did like that finally they kind of figured out what they were going to do with the with how they were going to go ahead and go forward with the distribution. And it's funny because every place is a little bit different how they manage it. One Walmart said that, yeah, we'll have a line at 11 o'clock at the cashier register. And the one I was at, literally, we had to wait in the layaway section and wait for our units there. But I liked how they, at least for this store, they created the policy of we're going to do it 1 to 2 max per household. So that meant that if you, let's say for example, a husband and wife were with a bunch of kids, they were only going to limit them 2 consoles. So it's not like each kid could get a console, and that was kind of like our concern, because they actually did admit, like the people that were in front of us, they did admit at first in the beginning, oh yeah, we're getting them all, these consoles. And we're just like, everybody else behind us was like, that's, you know, got to be BS. But what was nice was that the manager, you know, finally he did, it was a hard conversation I'm sure they had to have. You know, the people that were actually in the back were more happy about the news on how they were going to go about distributing these consoles as opposed to the people in the front. So they said that, yeah, we're going to limit 1 to 2, and if we go all the way back and there's more, then we'll start at the front of the line again to see how many you want. And there wasn't, of course, room. There was a lot of people that kept coming and piling behind the lines. So there were people that, even when they did announce how many were going to be released, there was only going to be 24 there, and ended up becoming 23 because of that stolen product. It was just enough for all of us who were there from the beginning, maybe waiting out 6 hours, 6 hours from midnight, so 6 o'clock. But there were quite a few that just kind of wanted to have the hope that they were going to get something and didn't. So that was the unfortunate part for the people who really did, who they were just by themselves, you know, just wanted to get the SNES, you know, for themselves. So part of what I did, I had a great, wonderful experience. I met some wonderful people in line. We got to share a lot of stories. We spent time, and I think that was the thing that I enjoy the most. People are always kind of wondering, like, is it really worth it to wait in line for anything as silly as like a video game? So it was just really interesting to me. I don't take it as it like, you know, I'm really waiting and it's just for the console itself. I really went with the intent of being able to do something like this, like a community video where we could all kind of share our passions and interests together. I think that was one of the reasons why I did it. But of course, obviously I wanted to get it because this had to be in my collection. This was very nostalgic for me, only because I remember having one when, you know, in the 90s, when I was pretty much just, you know, by myself at home. Parents were divorced, so my brother, I just remember he's about 9 years older than me. I was practically almost an only child, but my brother, who's 9 years older than me, actually forked out good money and bought me my first Super Nintendo system. And the first game was Super Mario World. That was the first game I ever played on this console because it was the game that came with it. And so to me, it had a lot of nostalgic value, which, you know, I really enjoyed. You know, kind of reliving. I'm looking forward to playing the system again, but also from, you know, a retrospective of a, you know, my little guy who's only 4. Let's see how he gets into these, you know, types of games. He already loves just the controller. He likes the action of it. I don't want to get him too addicted to it, but just, you know, we probably play 10 minutes a week or so, just so he can kind of have a little bit of fun with it. But anyways, so going back to the experience in just waiting in the line, I remember my first experience waiting for the NES. That was a blast. I had a fold-out chair, I had water, I had a jacket. Even in Arizona, which that's where we're at, it does get hot, but during the winter it's freezing. So I came prepared to this event for the SNES. Same thing with the chair, with water and everything else. But it was, again, the experience of just being able to talk to people who are into the same things that you are, you know, sharing your experiences, sharing your, you know, your stories, your connection to, you know, something as simple as like an object like this, but just kind of sharing the good memories that you have. that is kind of a cool experience in itself. And that's one big reason why I really wanted to go, and I don't mind waiting in the lines. It's not, I really did try to pre-order it. My first experience for the pre-orders was actually on the GameStop website. I actually got as far as, when I got the alert, I got as far as to paying for the order, and then when I clicked on submit, the server crashed. So I couldn't be one of those fortunate people that got the pre-order, so that I could have just maybe not waited in line for about 6 hours. But again, I think the experience of it, again, I wouldn't trade it back. I really enjoyed it because you make of it what you will. If you want to sit there and just kind of just veg out for 6 hours or read a book or watch a movie or whatever, I mean, that's totally up to you. I'm more of a social person. I really like to go out and engage myself with the crowds and meet people. And so for me, it was a really fun experience just because of that. And there's so many people that love to share their stories, what they're into, what their families are like. So to me, that was the enjoyment, was really getting to go outside of the norm and meet new people, make new friends, that kind of thing there. I got to share with the people in line my YouTube channel. So thank you again for you guys that supported that. It was a blast. I had an absolute blast just meeting everybody. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of clips. A couple of these clips are going to show kind of my experience. So I did the whole Walmart thing. So that was, how I got the first console. And I did not anticipate or even expect to get a second console. The second console literally was just, I went into the Best Buy just to see what it was like to maybe ask some questions for people. I expected a huge line. I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to go here and just hang out with the people and get a chance to talk to them and what their experience was like, waiting in line. Did they get any word from Best Buy, how many units were going to be there, so on and so forth. And none of that happened. I'll show you in the clips, you'll see that literally the line, there was no line, and it was because Best Buy had the policy of handing out the tickets, which was fantastic because they did that for the NES last year, and that was genius. That's what you need to do. I think the store distributors need to come up with a way, especially for something like this, when they know it's going to be popular, especially, be prepared ahead of time. So basically for Walmart, they didn't really know as much, people who were just kind of like waiting and asking, around, they were kind of asking the people in line, what are you in line for? And they didn't know too much, but the people at Best Buy, obviously, that's kind of there should be, you'd expect that they know that there's going to be, that's their expertise. They were going to be the store that was going to have the most, and rightfully so. So when I made my phone calls, I did a lot of research and calling around the day of, or the day before launch. So I was calling around early morning. How many were you guys expecting? Of course, they said we can't release it. So Best Buy, here's the thing, Best Buy did better, I think, than the other stores, because at least they said that they have an idea of how much they're going to have, even though they couldn't say it. And they even said that. We said we can't really tell you how much we have, but we're going to have quite a bit. And I even threw a number out there. I said, are you going to have about 100? And the representative on the phone said, yeah, we'll have a little under that. It just kind of generalizing it. Just didn't tell me how much exactly, but I was like, okay, 100, and I didn't know whether to buy into it or not. So I didn't use Best Buy just as my go-to place, only because the location of it was so centralized that I knew it was going to be really busy, and that's what I tried to avoid. When I got the NES, I went to a far out place, like kind of like in the edge of town, where it was an older community, and it wasn't as high traffic or busy, and it wasn't like centralized at all. So that's how I landed the NES the second time it came out. So when there was a second wave and a second announcement, and then since then they never launched it after that. So for the SNES, I was really taking a gamble, and I was really surprised that Walmart was going to have it, because I literally thought they were going to be on a timeout, from the early pre-release that they had, the pre-orders online. If you guys remember on the news, if you were reading up on the SNES pre-order news, Walmart had basically went ahead and put up the pre-orders. I don't know if it was by accident or if they intended to do that, but it was supposed to be, it was a big no-no basically. And they retracted all their orders, and they had to cancel everything that people legitimately signed up for and already paid for. So they had to kind of be reimbursed, I guess, in that way. So that was the interesting part, was that I literally thought, I don't think they, in a lot of the news that I read, they were literally just saying it was going to be Target, it was going to be Best Buy, GameStop. There's probably some local other stores that you're aware of if you've been doing some research in your own hometown or area. But like, oh, and Toys R Us, that was another one. So a lot of the big name stores, Walmart wasn't part of that. From the research that I did, I literally thought that because they didn't put the name Walmart in it, that I thought they weren't going to have any. Thankfully the day of, they got word of it, and they were able to kind of share that with the public finally, that yes, we are going to have some units. And so that being said, I took the gamble. I actually had to kind of teeter back between a couple of Walmarts just because I wasn't sure exactly which Walmart was going to carry it. And so the first one that I went to just had it was four moms with 7 or 8 kids, and kind of when I asked them, I said, "Are you all getting the SNES?" They said yes, and that was kind of a discouragement to me, because I was like, "Great, they're probably going to have their kids, and they're probably having people saving spots for their friends also to come over. They can just call them and say, hey, we're in line, just come up into the front with us," and they're going to bring all their kids. So I didn't want to go through that. That was the really discouraging part. I have no clue how that Walmart handled it, but the one I went to did a pretty good job, because again, they were really fair in their distribution. They were very clear with their with the people after they kind of knew how many they were going to get, and kind of laid out the rules and said, hey, we're doing only 1 to 2 per household, and the 2 obviously had to be both adults that had basically the different method of payment at least. So it couldn't be, one kid and then borrow mommy's credit card and then, have to pass it down to the next kid. So thankfully that, they stepped it up. They were firm on their rules. I'm glad they did that. I think the people in the front really had no say in it, and they couldn't really be mad because you had a huge crowd in the back that, they were number 20. And if you were number 20, you're already kind of sweating bullets, because you could be off by that, 3 or 4, depending on who all is coming in front or who all is saving a spot. So I did hear that, in a couple places they said that they weren't going to do the whole spot saving thing. The Walmart even said that they were going to do the tickets, and they never did. So we never did tickets. They just went ahead and launched it and released it. And the guy says, yeah, I've got a mental note of who all is here and who we're going to give units to. So I kind of don't like that approach as much, because it's just not as secure. I liked Best Buy and how they did it, so that was a lot better. I think a lot more organized, so I'm pretty happy that Best Buy had the voucher and the ticket system. So again, that was pretty much my experience with going to the different Walmarts and the Best Buy and even Target. So I had a great experience. It was a very quick experience at Best Buy. I literally just got there, and again, you'll see it in the video here. I'll show a couple clips of me driving around town and kind of walking the lines, but I had a great experience because I was able to talk to some of the employees there, and of course I can't do the interviews with them, but they were willing, for me to kind of just do a quick. I told them, I said, I'm doing a small YouTube video of this. It's just part of a channel. I just started it out not too long ago, and they were willing to kind of let me film just clips here and there, not so much the people or interview any of the employees, but at least just kind of do it as an experience kind of event, like a recorded experience event. So thank you again, Best Buy and Walmart, for letting me do a couple of shots in the store and videos and so forth. So it was kind of nice that I was able to do that and get that experience. So let's go ahead and check out some of the clips that I've got with me kind of traveling around town. And my plan is to do a wrap-up video, so I'll do like a wrap-up at the end of this segment just to kind of share some final thoughts and some information that I gathered from the different stores on what all to expect now that we're day 1 of the launch, and pretty much every order has probably already been sold out. So the idea of this video is really to establish a sense of community for all the people who are SNES fans and who really want to get their hands on this on hopefully the next launch. So if you missed your opportunity, for the people who made it and got their SNES and want to share your experience or share some of the information that you gathered from your research or things that you've heard, let's go ahead and share it on this video. I really want this to be more information than just entertainment and just to get a bunch of views. That's not the intent, really. I really want people who are fans of this to kind of get better information, or maybe shared information, to make a decision and maybe help them to decide whether or not they're going to wait for the next launch and see if it's worth it to wait in line to see if it's worth it for them to plan it out ahead of time if you need to take a day off of work or whatever the case was. I was fortunate. I mean, I'm on vacation right now. We're planning on doing like a staycation and kind of go around and have some fun. So I just so happened to do this, and I really didn't want to do the overnight thing. So I'm glad I was able to go to the Walmart 12 o'clock release, and I went into Best Buy the next day after I had already slept and everything else, and didn't expect to get a second one. Absolutely, that wasn't even my intent, and I did just because I'm like, I gotta get this. I mean, how can I not? They have so many tickets left, and I just wanted to get one so that additional one so that I can pass it as a Christmas gift to my family, because that's what I wanted to do for the NES and couldn't quite get there. So I'm glad I'm able to get the one extra. So that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. If you guys have any information, again, this is a shared community. Please share all the information that you have so that way people who may have not been as fortunate to get an SNES Classic and really wanted one, let's share that information on how they can better their chances in the upcoming releases. We know that there's supposed to be some upcoming releases, but let's go ahead and share some of the information that we learned on day one of the launch. Okay? So please enjoy. Driving right now to Walmart so that I can go ahead and wait in line for the SNES pre-order. Hopefully it's not going to be a huge line. Walmart over here, and it looks like they're not even going to accept the lines until 11 o'clock. So that's kind of strange because the one right by my house already has about 13 people waiting in line, probably since earlier this afternoon is what I was told. And I guess some of them will do it, some of them won't. So I kind of don't like the consistency or the inconsistency of their policies. They just kind of vary from different stores. So let's go ahead and try a different Walmart.
So the first thing you notice is I pulled out the manual, which I believe is a poster, maybe with some other instruction, but I've also got the charger port here. I'm taking out the controller. Absolutely love the feel of this controller. It totally reminds me of the first time when I held an SNES controller. Absolutely love it. I'm smelling it here just because I'm weird like that. I've got to smell the new product. Kind of reminds me of, the sense of smell that I had. So now that I've already got one, let me go ahead and open it up for you guys so you guys can take a quick peek at this unboxing clip. So the first thing you notice is I pulled out the little manual that comes with this. I also pulled out the charger port, and here I'm going to go ahead and take out the first controller. Now I absolutely love this controller. It totally reminds me of the same exact one that I held originally back in the 90s. It's got the same feel to it. I love the buttons. It feels really, really well made. I'm smelling it right here. It's got that new, uh, console smell to it with all the packaging and I remember back in the day I was smelling the styrofoam. It just kind of totally brings me back to my childhood. So really awesome. The buttons feel great. You got the left and right buttons that work very well. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck that away. Here's the port, by the way. So it's pretty much the same as the NES port that came out. So the NES Classic. So pulling out the second controller here, so it's the same thing. I'm not going to really go into a whole lot of detail. I'm going to take out the unit now. The packaging on this, you can see, is very well designed. They fit everything into it perfectly, so I don't know how I'm going to get everything back in if I want to store it away. But here you've got the charger cable, and here you've got the HDMI cable. So I know that there's been a little bit of some complaints where they're saying that you should probably get an extended HDMI, but I have a TV that I use, a TV screen that I use on my computer, so I don't really go back that far to really play any games. I just pretty much just put it right next to me, and it's not that much of a distance. Here again, here's the actual charger itself, plugs into the wall, and let's see if I can actually open this. Sorry, it's a little tricky to do this one-handed, and I meant to say power cord on this one. This one's a USB plug-in power cord, so it's USB port on the back of that charger unit, and it goes right into the console itself. So let's go ahead and start opening our actual console here so we can take a good look at it. I'm going to put some of this stuff away here. All right, so there it is. This is our look at the SNES mini console. So this is of course SNES Classic. Very, very similar in style to the original SNES that I remember. Of course, this is almost the size of my hand here. The other one was much larger. And again, I know there's a lot of videos already out there, so I'm not gonna do an in-depth detailed review of the unit itself. I'm just playing with the buttons. The power one goes up and down, so you can see that works. There's no eject, obviously, because you can't really fit a cartridge in here, so it's literally just the power and the reset. Both of those work. The let's see, the gamepad port, so like the controllers themselves, that's actually just for looks. There's a way to open it. I'll show you in a second here. Here's the back of the unit, so you can see where all the ports go in, so the power and the HDMI. There's some writing on here. I'm not going to read the details, but it just talks about the compliance piece of the Nintendo console itself, so you can kind of gaze at that there. So now from here, this is, you can see the two little holes there. You can just literally stick your finger in there and pop that out. And this is how you actually open up the console so that you can put in the controller plugs into it, so you can actually start playing the game this way. So again, it's very similar to the NES in many respects. So now I'm going to go get some sleep. In the morning, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can travel to a couple of stores, maybe talk to some people, and fill you on what I find out.
Super Target. We're going to go ahead and check out and see if they have any additional, or just maybe you can ask some questions to see what it was like for them to stand in line, and what the lines were like, what the quantities were like. So we'll get back to you on that. I just left the Super Target right by my house, and they said that they already ran out of the SNES like within 30 minutes of after opening the store. So they opened at 8, they ran out at 8:30. They said they only had about between 40 to 50.
My local Best Buy. Looks like they've got a truck and some other things over there. Huh. Trying to get some information on what that's going to be like.
Out of the Best Buy, and I got a chance to talk to an employee who took the day off, which was really interesting. He came out to wait in line, and there's, as you can see, there's nobody waiting in line. There's that truck there, you can see that, but nobody's behind it. So what Best Buy did, about 5 o'clock in the morning, they passed out tickets. So they had a ticket system, which is kind of what they did for the NES release. So I do remember that last year they had a ticket system, except for that one at the Best Buy where I was at, they didn't do that until 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's nice that they did it really, really early. They found out how many units they had exactly, and they just passed out all those tickets so it wouldn't cause a whole lot of chaos, according to the employees over here. But that was nice. I think it was better organized, I think, this time around. So one of the employees just told me that there was probably about initially about 20-30 people, but because it was there was the ticket system, they had already passed out all the tickets about 5 o'clock, so there really wasn't a line this entire time at this Best Buy. I actually just ended up getting one myself. I came, this is, right now it's 9:14 in the morning, and I honestly thought that this was going to be a moment where everyone's going to laugh. You know, I'm going to be that guy that showed up like, you know, an hour before they actually launched it, but this is the first time I've seen it where we had a release like this and actually have a ticket. So this is their ticket, where they have some additional accessories. So if you wait in line, this is first come, first serve. This is what they got over here is you got the SNES right there. You've got a Monopoly board game, so Monopoly Gamer Collector's Edition, which is kind of cool. So Monopoly Gamer Collector's Edition. They have a Nintendo World plush figure. They've got the 2-pack controller extension cable and the Pokemon Sun and Moon Burning Shadows sleeved booster trading cards. So again, this is the ticket number. On the ticket you can see 61 out of 95. And there's a couple of numbers that are like 384. I'm not sure what that is. He just literally circled it, but I'm assuming I'm number 61 out of 95. So again, when the line came out, it was only about 30-ish people is what they said, but they did do the ticket system, so it kind of sent people back home so they can go ahead and get some sleep or do some other shopping. So that's kind of nice. It's only what, 9:15 right now, so the store opens at 10. I'll probably come back maybe a little bit before. I'm not sure if there's any items I don't want to get from this list, because again, the additional stuff that Best Buy sells, this is extra. This isn't obviously part of the system, but this first come first serve basis if you want to get like the Monopoly Gamer Collector's Edition. So I love Monopoly. I don't know if I want to get that yet or not. It looks cool. It is a collector's edition, so I don't know if that makes a huge difference. Maybe I'll just do it for the heck of it. It's $40. But yeah, that's actually very, very awesome that they have some additional stuff and they don't have it like bundled. I don't know. I haven't done a report out yet on GameStop, so I don't know if GameStop actually, I know a couple of people have been telling me, some former employees, they've been saying that GameStop actually has bundles, but they almost force you to buy the bundle, so they have a limited amount of the actual consoles themselves, the SNES consoles, and then the rest of it, they kind of force you to buy it into a bundle, kind of like maybe if you've been doing some research on the pre-orders, they had some of the, you had the ability to go ahead and pre-order it, but if they ran out of just the basic console itself, then you had to be forced to buy all these additional things with it. So I don't know too much about it. I'll probably do a little bit of research later on. I just remember seeing that a while ago and I couldn't remember what all came with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So again, I'm gonna probably close out right here. This is all I'm gonna say about the SNES release. There's a few cars coming in. They're kind of trickling in right now, so I don't know if I should just go ahead and wait in line. We'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out right now. Fine, just waiting for the doors to open. About 5 minutes out until we get inside. Just came up. About 3 more minutes or so. I'm gonna go ahead and open the doors. There it is. And that's the first. So letting customers in first, and we're probably just gonna wait until everybody else goes inside. Thank you. So first in line, get one of these. Walking all the way over here to the store pickup. Then slash in the back. That's ours right there. First one right here. So this is from the Best Buy out here in my area. So as you can see, there's a huge line behind me, and I was able to get at least one, which is nice. So going back out in the sun here, standing in line a bit. It was kind of hot out in Arizona. We're talking on average 110 degrees. But as you can see here, here's a whole parking lot. Now it filled up quick. Before I was showing you guys how empty it was, like literally an hour ago, and that's because they had the ticket system where they were able to give out all the all kind of like the vouchers for it, so that people didn't have to wait in line anymore. You know, especially like at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that was very awesome at this Best Buy. I don't know if every Best Buy is able to do that or has done that. So I'm kind of glad that this one actually was well organized. I think that all stores should, you know, start doing something like that, so they don't have to make people wait for an extended period of time. Although, I mean, I had fun doing it a couple of times. I just wouldn't want to do something like this every time there's a launch of something that I really want. So if they can improve on the process a little better, that'd be great. So again, as you can see, a lot more cars now. And you saw me walking out, and there was like a huge line behind me. So I actually, like I said, I came in like at 9 already, like an hour before they even opened. There were people in there before me, but I waited in line after everyone had left. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, and we'll see you guys inside. All right, welcome back, everybody. So hopefully you guys enjoyed some of the scenes and clips that I had. Again, they were not scripted. Nothing was scripted. None of this is scripted, by the way. So I apologize again ahead of time. I didn't have enough time to really think through clearly on what I wanted to present, but I just wanted to get stuff out there so that we can go ahead and get some, like, you know, thread going. You know, maybe we can get some people to share some of the ideas, some of their comments and whatnot, you know, kind of share your opinions and theories and whatnot, and what you think the next releases are going to be like. So my next videos are going to be more just totally fun. It's supposed to be Dude and Little Dude reviews, so we're going to do our first video game review together. So me and the little dude are actually going to play. We're going to just start, we're going to go backwards. We're going to start off with the SNES first, and then we'll do the kind of like a play review of the NES Classic, even though that's already been out and there's probably still like a million reviews of that already. But you know, just to kind of get some impressions of how this extremely new generation, you know, likes gaming in general. You know, do they like the graphics? Is it boring for them? My little guy, you'll see in the future, his favorite game, I would say, is the Excite Bike. He just loves motorcycles and cars, and I think Excite Bike for him was absolutely his favorite video game so far, just because he loves, you know, the motorcycle. So again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to check out my channel. Please like and subscribe to kind of show your support. This is for Dude and Little Dude's Toy Reviews. We're a brand new channel. We haven't really put out a whole lot of videos yet, but we're kind of slowly getting into it. It's a fun little project the little dude and I enjoy doing, and we want to be able to continue to create more videos, and we have a blast doing them. So if you guys enjoy watching them, then again, please support us. So we'll see you guys on the next video.